All right, so would like to discuss a little bit about an add-on called the email parser. Obviously, the intro was a data entry, and we'll show you a couple of different scenarios. So again, second string in, Matthew's on the bench. Our first string, he'll be back shortly. So I'll do the best I can. And so yeah, we'll just a quick intro to email parser. Really, you know, we all know emails are a big part of our day. So and Quickbase obviously has a very robust notification process, and we actually take advantage of that. I think a lot of you may know that already. And incidentally, when it comes to emailing, you know, our Courier add-on, obviously we're not speaking about that today, but you know, I'm going to mention some of our add-ons in this presentation. I'll tell you why. But our Courier obviously allows a lot of flexibility in sending emails from Quickbase, and sort of takes Quickbase to that next level really in flexibility when it comes to emails. So what about inbound emails? We've found that they can be very robust, and in fact, we actually built one of the first automation for Quickbase called triggers. You know pipelines, and it was sort of a pre-pipeline type of automation, and we used inbound emails for that. So we became very proficient at processing emails, and that's kind of why email parser was born. So we've extended the functionality into our email parser to do different things like capturing leads from contact forms on your website, or setting off workflows, basic data entry like Keith mentioned on the opening slide, and then even querying data and updating it in place. So and I'll show you that some of those scenarios today. And then if you add the power of pipelines to extend, yeah, you can extend functionality even further. And again, I'll show a little bit of that today. And then also adding in our functionality, like I mentioned, Courier, or our easy file importer, which is another add-on that we have. You get even more power out of your apps. And again, I'm going to show you, touch on each one of these things today, very quick demos. So I'll take you through again. So like I said, we'll take you through use cases on these different scenarios. I won't spend too much time on configurations because they're very straightforward, and we actually perform a lot of them for you anyway. So so let's take first example. I'm going to add data to a Quickbase table via an email, and I'm going to include attachments. So let me pop over to, I have my Gmail open. I'm going to compose an email, and I'm basically going to send it to an email address which we have set up, and we do set up for our customers to basically monitor the email as it comes over. So we're sending it there, and I'm gonna call the subject email parser demo, and then I'm going to put in a body here. This is an email sent from Gmail with some attachments to show how, how we can do, I wish I could type, some data entry.
It's not as easy when you're on the spot.
Even with two hands, Matthew, I can't do it. Okay, so I'm setting up an email. I'm going to include some attachments, some pictures that I have here. Okay, so attaching some images, and so I'm going to send this off. Okay, so now let's go back over to the demo app, which is where I was just before. And we're just going to go to our email. So this is the demo app, which anybody can actually take advantage of right now. I'm just going to go over pop over to my emails table. That email should come in. Here it is. So here's the email I just sent, parsed out and entered into Quickbase. If we take a look at it, all right, you're going to see these are different sections we're close. So we're going to see that the data was sent, obviously, the subject, what I typed in here and here. But more importantly, actually, I should have viewed the record, because then you could see the images a little easier. So these are the images I just attached, right, as part of that. All right, so that was just simple data entry via email. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do an update in place also, so that we can just send an email and update in place. So I have a record ID 286. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compose another email to that same address. And I'm going to say, this is email parser to update. And then I'm going to just include, so this is new text, and I'm going to include another image. Actually, so I'm going to include another image and not forget to put, so keyword, which, you know, key is 286. So, and this can be whatever the customer defines, right, as sort of a word to key off of when the email comes inbound. So we're saying email parser update key 286. So now this is going to find that record and basically put that and replace that image on the record. So if I just refresh this, you're going to see an image, the first image will flip. It should flip once it comes through. I sent that email. Yep, 286. There it is. So that was the image that I just sent via the, and then it says this is new text. So that's just basically sort of a data entry update in place. Add some logo, some images to a record, and add the record. All right. So let's take another example. Let's do data entry via Jotform. So we have this Jotform here. So obviously another cloud platform that you can use, but we'll take advantage of this because some customers have these kind of scenarios in the field, or it's part of their workflow. And I'll just enter some data, and this is basically time. So I'm entering time for the week, for this week, right? 9 a.m. Maybe I worked, let's see, 5 p.m. on Monday, and 8 a.m. on Tuesday. 9 a.m. 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, okay. When was the last time you came in at 9 o'clock?
When I was probably in my 30s, which was quite a while ago. Yeah, I'll put the right time then. 10 a.m.
There we go.
to 3 p.m. Okay, those are my real hours on Friday. All right, so if we submit this, now this is going to basically, so Jotform, obviously they have a very flexible system as far as collecting data and creating forms, etc. Right? So, now we can utilize Jotform's capability via their emailing to collect that timesheet. So here it is. And it's very quick. So here it is. this is my real hours for Friday. If I edit the record, I'm looking at all the time I entered. I know Keith mentioned this is my real time, but there's my real day here, 10 to 3, very long. And so what happened here is we actually took advantage of pipelines. So we added the records to the weekly timesheets table and associated my employee ID. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull the email over. So this is the email. I got a copy of the email as well. Right. So it took my ID, it grabbed all the data, put it in the table, took my ID and went and found my information from the employees table, linked it in, and then created a full, a related record for timesheets from a Jotform record. Okay, so that was my data entry via Jotform. Now I want to show another scenario where we will take a structured email now. So an email broken out into sections, and you'll see that when I pull it over. Let me get that. Let me set that up right now. So let me pull up a new email. I'm going to bring it up. Here we go. Let me clear out my signature. I'm going to pop in, this could actually have been from a template. but with sections. So obviously you want to structure this according to how you want things set up as far as your email is concerned, because our parser is going to look for the data in these different sections 1 through 8. And then we'll actually set up, we have an email address. Obviously this is just for the demo, but we'd set up an email address for you to collect this data. So we're going to say this is a warranty repair issue. Right. And what we're also going to do is include some images. We're going to include there's one image, all these different images of my roof, or of Chris's roof, actually. Sorry, Chris. So leak 2. So she's got a lot of leaks here, unfortunately. And leak 3. So we're actually going to, so we're not only going, are we going to take the attachments and put them into a record, we're going to actually add all this data to a record as well and associate them, right? So we're sending it inbound now, and that will come into my warranties table. I think this is it. Is that it? Yeah, that should be it. I'm sorry, warranty issues. Let's go. Here it is, warranty issues. So here's the record that I just set up for Chris, right? And then here are all the images. So the roof is leaking. You could see that she's got a big hole in the roof. Sorry, Chris. And there's the water coming down. That does not look good. All right, but that's another way to take a structured email, send it to an address that we can set up for our customer, obviously, add that data to the record, and then take the attachments associated. This also utilizes a pipeline as well, but and that's the beauty of of all these different automations and integrations, right? You can do the same with all of our add-ons, but obviously with pipelines, you can take advantage of that capability as well to make a very robust data entry via email. So let me take another scenario here. So here's where we'll utilize Courier. Courier is another add-on that we have for outbound emailing. So in this example, I'll show you, obviously we'll show Courier, but then we're going to show Email Parser, which will basically monitor the Courier email and then create, so it'll monitor it and it'll actually consume it as an inbound email and then place it on a record. So we get a kind of almost like a conversation via email. So let me show that example as well. So I have a record here. It's blank. So let me send an email to my Hotmail account via Courier. All right. This is an email parser test for an inbound. For inbound messages, right? Because we're going to send outbound via Courier and we're going to process the inbound email via email parser. So let me just pop in. I just pop in a message here. So it's a test message I'm sending out via Courier. Let me do this. It's going to mess up my formatting. This is a test message that I am now via Courier with a CC to an email address, which email parser. So I'm sending it outbound, but I'm going to CC an address that email parser manages and monitors. So, and then it will actually send back, if you will, to this record, and I'll show you that how that
I
works.
think that's an important note to
Yeah,
say.
go ahead.
I've been kind of biting my tongue on a couple of these, not to mention it, but the aspect of CCing the email address that we're going to be using to gather data via email parser is important. Most clients wouldn't want to be sending an email directly to that. You could also BCC the email, correct? So it's just kind of blind copy.
Exactly, right. BCC is fine. Yep, absolutely. That probably is a better way to do it. This way you're not exposing that email, but you want to just make sure, yeah, obviously on a reply all, they want to just make sure, we're capturing that as well.
Right.
So if we send this, right now we're utilizing Courier, so I'll just refresh and okay. So here's the message. So Courier sent it. All right. So now if I just pull open my Hotmail, so here's that email. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reply back. Right. So now when I reply back, email parser will consume this and place it onto that record. And it knows there's some information that we actually encode inside the subject line to know where to associate that back, which is pretty common. You'll see that in a lot of different types of platforms that do that. So let me go back to, so if we just refresh, right? So now you see I highlighted in red, this is the reply back. So now we get a bunch of threads going. We set up a subject, right? Email parser for testing inbound messages here. And now we're monitoring. Actually, I can go and even go one step further and say, this is another message. And this will go out via Courier, and then it can, and then we can respond to it, obviously. And then it kind of creates another set of messages back. So here it is. This is another message. Why? I think you get the point here, but I just wanted to illustrate that. So if we come back to the app again, come back to that record. Oh, there it is. So this is in further. So it's kind of creating a loop or and almost like a conversation. And the cool thing in this example where I had set up just a quick app for a customer for them to test out Courier. We could, if I created another message and I changed the subject, we could actually monitor that whole series of threads under another grouping within this table. This is just the way we set up this app for this, but you could literally have a group of, so this is grouped, right? And then if I set up I sent out another email with a different subject, that would come under another group. So you get a little way to manage the messages that go back and forth there.
Right. And Todd, typically,
yeah,
in this case like this, we help clients set up like support ticketing applications.
Exactly.
So you kind of have that conversation, that inbound and outbound emails back and forth, all within Quickbase. So you don't have to go outside of Quickbase ever. So if you have your support team who is managing cases right within Quickbase, they're not using their own Outlook or their own Gmail accounts to send these back and forth. It's all right within Quickbase.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a great use case for something like that. Absolutely. And obviously, I know, Matthew, you probably chomping at the bit. We have some great applications that are ready to go that actually support that type of scenario, and we use it ourselves. Correct?
Correct.
Yep. Yes. And it's very effective.
Yeah.
Very effective. It's a great way to manage communications with the customer, especially like you said, from a support application. And so I have one other example I want to show. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Justin was about to say it as well. Before we go into the next example, we have a question from Joe in the chat.
Yeah.
How flexible is the email parser when extracting data from the body? Does it use regular expressions or some sort of other technology? Also, can it extract multi-line data into one field? So we can kind of break that up into a couple of different questions. How flexible is the email parser when extracting data from the body? That's part of the configuration.
Exactly. We have a set of parsing rules. So we haven't necessarily opened that up, if you will, to, like we do with our other add-ons from a configuration standpoint, but you're right, there are a bunch of parsing rules. So we actually would talk with the customer, go over the structure of the email from the body's perspective, say, and figure out, what the data, how it is structured, so that we can pull out all the necessary elements and make sure that we map those to the right FIDs, if you will, or field IDs in Quickbase.
And then the other half of that is also, can it extract multi-line data into one field? Now, I would believe so, but I'm not sure.
Yes, and I think so. In one of the emails, I think we saw that. Let me see here. Maybe we didn't have that set up. Yeah, but you should be okay with multi-line. It's all going to be how we define it, right? Within with the parsing rules and the parsing engine, which is very flexible. So there's a lot we can do. It doesn't have to be so, tightly organized, like, like that email. Let me pull up that email again that I sent out. Let me just pop it open. The one I sent, let's see.
And then, I have a question that I might
Yeah,
Keith in a minute, and we're going to talk about that one next.
Yeah. Okay. So this one I sent, I think it was this one. No, these are all the ones okay, let's go back here.
Hey Todd, when it comes to multi-line data, it's possible that in worst case scenario, you can have it in several other fields, which you would then combine together with a Quickbase formula. Depending on what the data actually is, I'm not sure if that would be the best case to do it, but there's always workarounds.
Right.
But also, when we're configuring the message, when we're looking at the message body and we're saying, how are we going to parse out this data? We typically do a start and an end. We say, we'll start parsing at when we see this piece of data in the message body, and end the parsing when you see this piece of data. So you could have a couple of lines worth of data in that message body between the start and the end. We'll grab that chunk of data from the middle of it and push it right into a single field. So now you're getting multiple lines from the message body into a single multi-line text field in Quickbase.
Right. And did that answer? So why don't we just sort of take a checkpoint? Did that answer the question? Or is there any?
Yeah, what Joe followed up with, for example, the comments field in the email message body. Yes, especially if you had a label saying comments, and you had maybe a paragraph worth of data.
Right.
Certainly push that right into
exactly
a multi-line field.
Right. Yeah. And, and like I was just trying to show like this example here before that we show, we could grab all this address information, pop it into separate. I mean, this is sort of like, if you will, a paragraph, but we can even pull things out of this, so to speak, multi-lines. This could all go in an address field, or we can break that apart as well. So there's a lot of flexibility as far as parsing is concerned.
Yeah, this is a good example here, because we would say, well, start grabbing from the address tag, and anything after that up until you see number 5. When you see 5 dot, let's say, that would stop our parsing rule. So we would take everything between the word address and 5 dot. And now we grab that chunk of data and push that into a single field.
Right, exactly. And so, this might be multiple lines here. We can grab all this information.
Yep. It's a good question, Joe.
And Ben, I don't want to make you think we're ignoring you. I'm gonna defer to Keith on that question for now.
Yeah, Ben asked the question, and this is another good question. How would this work? Because Ben's obviously he's a partner. He works with us on a lot of different add-ons, and our partners love our add-ons because they can work with them on their own and not really need to get us involved with certain add-ons to set up for their customers. This one is a little different when it comes to the configuration side of things. Now, when we're ripping data out of the message body, we do have to get involved with that. Now, there are some setups where if there's no configurations that are needed to pull data out of the message body, you can do that on your own then, because we have two flavors of this where if, you know, the more advanced is that we need to pull information out of the message body. So we have a different route that we take with that. Whereas if you just want to pull in file attachments and the full message body and the full subject, you guys can configure that on your own, or we can help, you know, we can show you how to do that without us getting heavily involved. When we need to kind of look at the message body and start doing kind of like we said, hey, start at address and then go down to the 5 dot and pull data out of there, we have to get involved with that. Now, we do have plans in the future to maybe make that a little bit more, let's say, user configurable or partner configurable. But right now, we don't have any immediate plans to do that because it's a bit of an undertaking for us. We do have it on our radar screen, but we just don't know exactly when we'd be able to make that available.
Okay, was that
You're welcome, Ben. Yep, I think
sufficient?
that
Yeah,
answers it.
okay, good. Okay, so and the last scenario, which I think is a very another very cool one, it would be sending in an attachment, sending in an email with an attachment and loading a table. So I have a table here, say at firm attorneys, and maybe you want to refresh this because from a corporate directory, obviously attorneys come and go here and there, new people are hired, etc. So we can send an email. I'm going to set up an email. Go back to Gmail again. I'm going to send an email to an address and include an attachment. So I'm going to include an Excel file with a list of attorneys. And if I send that inbound, we're going to see this table will get loaded. Take a minute to run. And the cool thing about this is we're utilizing, like I mentioned in the prior example, we utilize Courier, our other add-on for the outbound. In this example, we're using email parser and to consume that attachment, but then we're kicking off our easy file importer add-on to do the actual importation. So again, like I mentioned before, where you're utilizing pipelines, you know, as an added advantage to do a little more automation, we do the same with a lot of our add-ons. And so I sent that email inbound, right? And to a certain email, which is obviously monitoring for this particular app. And then you'll notice Easy File Importer is installed in this app, and that the import files table is where that file came in, which was right here. So this file came in, it got stored, it was stored on the record, right? This is a configuration for Easy File Importer. And then it basically loaded this table here. So, you know, the cool thing is this could be used for, well, this is used quite heavily for, you know, maybe you load medical claims, payment records, etc. So, you know, it's nice to be able to consume an attachment of an Excel with an Excel file and then automatically have it loaded with very minimal effort. Basically, everything just kicked off automatically. We actually have one customer who does this totally hands-free or hands-off, in that there's an automated process which sends a timesheet file every night, and then that email comes inbound. We consume it via email parser, place it in the import files table, and then Easy File Importer kicks off and loads a table of timesheets for the night. But you know, this so it's very handy to, again, couple our add-ons together. And you know, the other thing I just wanted to, I think I was just going to end with, you know, that a lot of customers utilize Easy Email Parser for a lot of different scenarios. Obviously, you know, loading data from websites too. And I pulled out one quick one that I found of one of our customers where they do auto loans, and they basically, and he has a form that they have built into their actual website. And so when you add information into this form, it sends an email, we parse it and pop it right into his app. So it's lead collection, if you will, for him. And then he triages it and it sets off his own lead management process from there. So
Yeah, Todd, I was even going to say down this line, I thought you were going to open up our website because we use it ourselves.
yeah, absolutely. So many different ways, right? We have it in quite a different instances on our website as well.
Right.
Yeah, good point. It loads our leads table to then obviously contact customers, etc. So,
Right.
so yeah.
Actually, just to jump in, I just set up a customer probably within the last 2 weeks where they take produce orders on their website and then they accumulate them in their own CRM. At the end of the day, they have a file sent to our email parser. And that file is has an Excel file attachment of all of the orders that they collected for the day, because now on their Quickbase side, that's where they handle the operational side of their business, meaning they manage fulfilling the orders and shipping the orders. So they don't do that through their order intake system on their web. They do it in the back end with Quickbase. So it's a great coupling of our add-ons where, you know, they're using their own intake forms, gathering their orders, send us a file at the end of the day. It goes right through email parcel, uploads it right into the import files table like Todd showed before. Easy file import, it kicks off. It loads all of those orders in for the day, lets them know that they're ready to be managed basically from that point. So it's a great way of ingesting data from external sources that, you know, have nothing to do with Quickbase.
Yep.
Okay, so I hope that was a good illustration to show you the power of, you know, email parser, emails and email parsing, because I think it's really pretty robust. I mean, you know, certainly Quickbase's email notifications are very, you know, very robust, and we actually take advantage of them in many ways throughout our add-ons. So I think, Matthew, I'm going to hand it back or to Keith if you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, I don't know if you wanted to mention something pretty important that we may have coming up.
yeah, I was just gonna say, if there's any questions on that, you know, we'd be happy to take them. Todd illustrated a couple different use cases, which I thought really summed up email parser as a whole. Obviously, we didn't go too far into setting it up, as Keith kind of alluded to from one of our questions. If you are interested in something like this, it's on a very much use case basis. You know, we'd have to learn a little bit more about what you're trying to do, but you know, Todd set these up in a matter of a couple of minutes. It's not like something that's ridiculous.
Very straightforward.
Very straightforward. You know, we just need to work with you on this. There is no wizard, as some of you may, you know, be familiar with Exact Forms Plus or Excel docs. So, you know, again, we'd be happy to go, you know, especially for those of you listening in the future, you know, please just reach out to support and ask for more information on you know, email parser. And for those of you who are listening to the future, hopefully this is old news by now, but we do have something, and it's behind Todd and Keith's head. As you guys have heard us talk about many times, JuicedSign, Justin, who's working on the marketing team, and Keith and Todd, of course, and the whole team here have been working very, very hard to have JuicedSign available for everyone. Please be on the lookout, as our campaign, our launch is starting tomorrow. And I'm going to let Keith, Todd, and Justin maybe talk a little bit more about that now.
Yeah, well, there's a series of emails that we're going to be sharing just to kind of, you know, give you a little bit more information on JuicedSign. And we'll have an official webinar to kick it off at the end of this month. Really, on May 3rd, there'll be a live webinar where we're going to actually kick off the official opening of JuicedSign. But again, we have some emails coming out over the next 2 weeks. We have some videos that can share some information about JuicedSign. We have a demo app coming out. So all within the next couple of weeks that we'll be focused pretty heavily on releasing JuicedSign. And we have some cool offers that are going to be available during the webinar. So if you want to make sure to attend that webinar on May 3rd, just so that you can take advantage of some of the offers that we have coming out there. But we're pretty excited about this. This is a long time coming for us. We've been working really, really hard on this add-on. Team's done a great job on this from everyone, just getting it designed and to now the marketing side of things, just getting it out there in front of people. So yeah, so please look out for these emails, and we look forward to sharing this with you and offering up some things for you guys in our webinar.
And very much in advance, I did toss the link to register for that webinar. If you're interested in seeing any of those offers, you do have to be in attendance to get them. So, you know, in advance, you'll obviously be reminded a bit more over the course of the next couple of weeks, but I did put the link in the chat for anyone that wants to be a part of that.
Right. So our first video is really like an overview of JuicedSign, what it is, some feature comparisons, some pricing comparisons, and then we have some additional things to share over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and then it's going to be officially available for purchase on May 1st.
Great.
But we'll give you one more chance here, but let's not. We won't end on that. We'll end on any questions about anything juiced. Please feel free to ask, whether it's email parser or any of our add-ons. We have a couple minutes left here, so we're here for you.
Will Juicy be part of JuicedSign?
Always. Always. It's a big part of all of our add-ons now.
It's a mascot. Good job, Todd.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
The query builder, any update on that?
Sean, if you would like Query Builder, I'll send you an email after this. We could potentially have Dylan, who helped to create Query Builder, work to get that implemented on your application.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Along the line with that, we also have our Excel docs configurator too. So you know, that one is, we actually have beta tested it with a bunch of our customers, just here and there, just to try to make sure that we, you know, before we roll it out officially to everybody, that it's working well. And I've used it myself personally, and really, really cool. It really helps make using Excel docs that much simpler when you need to grab data from multiple tables.
Right, and installations on the help site. So how to install it inside your document templates table. It's that information's on the web, on our help site.
Yeah, we can share that in.
Yes.
Do you have a link to that?
Yeah.
There it is. I was scrambling.
Yeah, it's right here. Instructions are here. So it's basically this set of code in a button on your document templates table.
Right, so you can.
The only thing
install that now, right, Todd? So that
absolutely. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So the only thing that has to be done is you just put your queue number in. So that's your client ID. It's on any add-on that you have. You can just look at the formula URL code and see that. It should be like Q234 or whatever that might relate to. And then you would just change, and I have here, I'm going to make it a little bit more, one of these based on whatever your add-ons, your other add-ons have as far as a URL, you just use that instead of the demo, because demo, obviously as we make changes and demo things, you know, you may not want to have that URL in there. So you're going to want to use one of our standard production URLs.
Right, so this is a way to quickly get it into your app if you don't want to wait until our wizards can do this for you. We are upgrading our wizards soon so that any new installation of Excel docs will have these new fields. You can also, in our wizard, upgrade your existing installation to have these fields put on your tables. But if you're anxious to get a head start, you can certainly do it this way.
Yeah.
You can always reach out to us if you have an issue. You can send us a support ticket. But again, our wizard's going to do this for you. So it'll check your document templates and subtables table and say, hey, you're using Excel docs, but I don't see those two fields. So we'll add them for you. But this is a way to manually add those fields to get a head start.
And if you guys have questions on that configurator, we do have previous office hours where you can absolutely check those out too.
Exactly right. The how-to on the configurator is definitely part of an add-on office hours that from April 8th It's in the company roadmap. We'll actually be expanding the help on that too. So that this will constantly change. So we'll be adding all the help for the configurator also right here.
Great. Well,
But we'll look to do an office hours on that to dive deep.
Mhm. So one last call for questions.
all right. Looks like everyone's getting 15 minutes of their day back.
Well, great. Once again, we thank you for taking the time out to meet with us. Hope you learned something here today.
Oh, and yeah, and I just wanted one last thing, Keith, because the configurator also is here from last week.
Yep,
So that we went into a pretty decent
right.
amount of detail. So
Right, so install those buttons if you want a head start, and you can always refer back to that video that Todd's pointing at right now.
right.
And
This was
how to do it.
this was more on certain aspects of Excel docs, but the configurator was tightly integrated into that discussion and video, so you can get a good handle on the configurator. So 4.12 and 3.8.